Defending guilty people is easy. Defending innocent people is emotionally exhausting. Comments. 1. Absolutely. Far too often I would meet with a client and they would tell me, before providing any facts, that this case is easy. I'm innocent, or L was set up, or I didn't do it. When it would come time to discuss a fee, they remind me, but you aren't even going to have to do anything. I am innocent. I explained, I have to work a lot harder for innocent clients. With the guilty ones, when it is open and shut, I may be negotiating a plea deal and focusing on preparing mitigation for sentencing. If the guy remains adamant of his innocence, I will have to prepare a full trial, which I am always willing to do. It is their right to elect for a trial, not mine. But defending an innocent person is generally more work for me than a case where the defendant is almost certain to be found guilty. Though obviously it is very dangerous to generalize in law, each case is very unique. 2. It is unbelievably hard to defend an innocent person. The amount of work that goes into preparing for trial is huge. If the person is guilty, you would only have to focus on doing a plea bargain with the prosecutor. You don't have to try to find a bunch of exculpatory evidence, which could be really hard. Go listen to Season 1 of Serial,
a podcast.
The guy who is the subject of that podcast was accused of unaliving someone. His lawyer spent a ton of time on the case and still managed to make some pretty bad mistakes. His parents had to remortgage their house and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Still, he was convicted and went to prison. He recently had his conviction overturned due to some evidence that the prosecutors had, which they failed to turn over to the defense. If he had committed the unaliving of someone, or if you believe he did commit the unaliving he had confessed, he could have done some kind of plea bargain and would probably have been out by now, and it wouldn't have cost his parents and family such a huge pile of money. 3. What happens to the prosecutor that failed to disclose evidence? If you convict someone because you withheld evidence, I feel like there should be some pretty severe ramifications. This is why people disagree with capital punishment. 4. In the case on Serial, the podcast spoken about in number 2, they, the prosecutors, haven't received any punishments at all. In theory, it could be prosecutorial misconduct, but that's rarely punished. 5. Prosecutors who cheat like that should go to prison. It's inexcusable. 6. It would be nice. It would also be nice if we had a system that was designed to find out the truth and seeking justice instead of a system where the prosecutors just try to get a conviction. 7. Friend of mine's daughter had been stopped for driving on a suspended license 3X. The forced stop is a felony charge here. Local cops saw her working at a house doing yard work with her mother-in-law's car parked nearby. Assumed daughter drove the car there. Arrested her. The fact was the mother-in-law parked the car there and went for a run on the high school track, which was a couple of blocks away. She thought it was safer because daughter-in-law was working there and could keep an eye on it. Multiple witnesses saw this, wrote depositions, corroborating this. Public defenders spent months telling her to plea out on a felony charge which was provably false, one 10-minute meeting at a time. So meet your defender, be told plea out, defender walks out of room. Just submitting the paperwork would probably have gotten the charge thrown out, but that would have required him to spend longer than 10 minutes on her case. 8. The problem is, who do you complain to? The law office with the PD contract all do the same thing. This leaves the state attorney general's office and would take months or years, with the most likely outcome having it kicked back to the county with years more debate. This whole thing is the outcome of the court's refusal to uphold basic laws in the first place. Legally, you cannot charge a person for driving on a suspended when you did not see them actually driving the vehicle. But hey, she's poor, been in trouble before, and they can tack on a couple thousand more in fines. Cha-ching.